I mean, those numbers are staggering. And we could go up a lot more. Are we going to? I don't have a crystal ball, won't predict it. But I'm in it because I believe I can go up way more than I've gone up. So you decide. If I think my millions of dollars that I'm riding on this deal is a good investment or a bad investment, now, at the end of the day, it only matters what I think about it. But just think about that for a minute, okay? How much will you put behind what you believe in? Okay, now here's another thing. Part of this show, I haven't done any shows in a long time because I've been busy making deals for the company. And here's where the rubber meets the road, as they say. And very exciting for us that we had all that movement while the Wall Street players were trying to bash us into oblivion. Okay, so while they were trying to harm us at the highest level of how much they can harm a company, and I have it well documented, and they have their evidence against themselves. So they have a lot of exposure, but I'm not really interested in that. That's a fail-safe, a last resort, a fallback plan to execute the nuclear options, okay? I always have nuclear options. That's the fight in me, the martial artist in me, the tactical strategist that I have just fun with. But the real information that you need is that we're building something of value. There's a saying in the market, you can build value with hype or promotion or enthusiasm or excitement, but then you got to sustain it with performance. You got to sustain it with performance. Now that's exactly what we're doing, and we've got a niche, and the niche looks to be the biggest niche in technology over the last several years, rising from the state of nothingness or the ashes into the phoenix, essentially, into that smoldering cauldron of the rising, God of Ithacus and all that other great stuff. And it's really exciting because here's what's actually happened. We bought a technology that is a variation, a dynamic improvement on the original surround sound. And we did everything we needed to. In fact, we're built onto the Qualcomm 600 series chip, which is maybe the most popular of the mainstream chips that they sell around the world. And they are probably the biggest provider. As our neighbor, we've walked all the way through the process and been on the threshold, what we thought was success many times. And it's been in our evolution, but we never quite hit the stride. We also noticed that we couldn't get traction with the big companies. All we could get is stuff stolen from them and get shut out of markets. Actually, there was a big thing on Jeff Bezos recently, and he was saying basically all he ever wanted to do his whole life is when he grew up is build a company that was a monopoly. He wanted to be a company that did all the business and no one else had any business. like it's very demented. Okay, sorry Bezos, but when President Trump called you bozos, I thought that was very fitting. The reality is this, okay? Everybody should be able to participate. There's more than enough infinite abundance in the universe for everybody to have a shot to do something good and do something well and be rewarded for it. And that's what I believe microcaps represent today. So let's lay it all out for you now in simple terms. MAXD is simply a technology company that has hardware, software. We can deliver it as an algorithm into software. We can flash it as a firmware update on a DSP, digital signal processor of a Qualcomm chip. We can go and embed into other people's technology our algorithm of software that takes up almost no room, uses almost no battery energy, and is brilliant in what it does. It creates dynamic sound, moving sound, not static sound. All audio that's recorded and compressed, be it MP3, high res, WAV files, AIFF, whatever it is a static waveform. Static waveform. I mean, it's a defined waveform that when you listen to it, it's the same thing over and over, and it's flat and it's compressed. And what our technology does, MAXD, is it expands it to more of a live sound. It widens the sound. It makes the sound bigger, bolder, and at the end of the day, no matter how good we might try to say that the stuff is, we market our stuff as also, and that's really important. We never say we're instead of. So my favorite technology company in terms of speakers and audio output is Bose, and I use Bose in a lot of things. I like a lot of people like the middle ground they found in sound, and a lot of their stuff's like that. Some of their single pieces are a little too gloomy and not very good, but they have a lot of pieces that are quite good, and I rely on those for sound. But when you add MAXD to it, it becomes that much better. And MAXD is so good that it doesn't matter what solution a person uses. We have done hundreds of tests. We've done the Venice Beach Challenge, which is like the Pepsi Challenge, if you will. And I'd suggest you click on some of those videos and watch that Venice Beach Challenge. Because we use Bose headphones, Beats, and Sony. And those are pretty much some of people's favorite headphones. And everybody was having an experience. I mean, like, some people looked like they were having an out-of-body experience. Some people were saying things like, I can feel it in my whole body, or like, when it does that, like, listen to that sound. And then when it goes off, they kind of freak out, like, you gotta put that back. Like the real music, you gotta put that back. So what we know for fact is that no matter which engineers and which experts are saying which sound is the good sound, the right sound, or the one that you want, no matter which it is, it's really important to remember that when you put our technology in any format in front of a consumer, for a speaker bar, AirPods, earbuds, whatever they are, headphones, we're going to be making this little speaker. It's like no bigger than that, and we have 2 of them, and then I'm going to add 4 and make it quad, and they literally fit in your pocket, and they will fill up almost concert hall style. Like, I have a room that's 18 feet high and quite large, and it fills, two of them fill that room up, and when you turn MAXD on, the sound production there is off the charts. It just expands things and makes it dynamic. When we say dynamic, that's moving sound. It's replacing where somebody might have been standing on the stage with the instrumentation. So this is some serious technology. Now, what's most exciting about that is no longer the fact that every single person that hears it says these things. What is that and how do I get it? That's number 1. Number 2, I'll pay anything for that, and especially if it's in my car. We were at CES show, the Consumer Electronics Show, with Qualcomm, essentially talking about Qualcomm's application of what's now labeled the infotainment system, which is essentially your phone adapted into your vehicle. And this was very exciting because every single person that came over, including the engineers and the marketing people and the consumers that were at that show, sat in a 550 SL Mercedes by one of our execs. And they listened to it, so just app on off. And they were just flipping out. They were like, that's like a concert hall in there. Like literally, it's like I came out of a giant concert hall that I just saw the concert live. And no, you gotta see it. They were like, and so you'll see video of all these things that we've posted. And the people are having like visceral reactions, which I think is profound. But now let's go to the final step of why does it really matter? Because we struggled with this for years, trying to find our home and getting shut out by the major players, okay? Even though we said we're adding something, we make it better. Like, we're also. I mean, our marketing is literally called also. And we saw players that were far inferior copy our stuff and go right past us and enter the kingdom of heaven in terms of selling product. Okay, now we find out that a lot of electric car companies and hybrid car companies are growing up all over the world with technologies that make some of the stuff that Elon Musk has over at Tesla Motors look like what I call kindergarten show and tell, just like amateur stuff. I'll tell you a couple of them in a minute, but we've partnered with these people. So we're partnering with them. We're partnering with the Formula 4, which, if you know about my history, is information I received, and it's not my company. I don't run the company. I get a royalty eventually, hopefully, if it makes enough money. But we have that. We have Tip Solutions, which has got Shaquille O'Neal ambassador brand in there. And this is a personal assistant. It's a phenomenal technology. We have all these different opportunities that just seemed completely absurd a year ago. And now they're just flooding in. Literally, if you don't take anything from this little show, what you should remember is that if I was to work beyond the 140 hours a week I'm working right now, and that's not an exaggeration, I document 140 hours a week is how much time I work because I'm excited, because I'm having a good time, because I'm succeeding in the business. The people that are coming at us are in all these industries and they want to do all these things. But the one that has really grabbed my attention is this automotive thing, and I'll tell you why. We got a group, Hendy Moto, and he's in Zimbabwe. And, like, I didn't think, Zimbabwe, I'm thinking about vehicles all of a sudden. I just think it's is that a tribal African community? Well, no, these are progressive communities. I mean, it's just, I'm sitting over here all ignorant, not really understanding what's going on. Next thing I know, I have a guy who's a U.S. citizen who owns a Zimbabwe electric and hybrid car company. And he's coming to me because he's on a forum talking about stocks. And one of the guys that was talking about our stocks says, you ought to go talk to these guys. I'll bet they'd love to license the technology in your vehicles. And the next thing you know, we have it in the annual report, which just came out a few days ago. So I'd say, look at this company, Henimoto, but also look at the technology that they're bringing. It's very, very exciting. And it has the potential for us to become one of the most valuable companies in the world today because of what they have. That's the key to this show that I'm doing now. There's many keys to it, granted, but that's probably the biggest key is how excited I am that all of a sudden, they don't have any interest in talking to a guy like Google or Tesla or Apple. They just don't have any interest in it. They couldn't even get a person on the phone at those companies. But we're making deals with guys like this. And what else do they have? Okay, they have a technology that is running the power grid of the vehicle through radio frequency. Now, 20 years ago, I drew a diagram that would generate perpetual energy in a light fixture. So I know that that's real because I've actually experimented with it, and it does work. And this fella has figured out how to use all the energy sources as hybrid, all the way up to like paraffin and whatever the 5 major sources of electric or hybrid vehicles. And then he's added that it can store radio frequency and run off radio frequency, which makes sense. Nikolai Tesla had all kinds of advanced stuff like that years, a century earlier. So it's not far-fetched, but when people talk about it, they're like, okay, number one, they couldn't have that. Number two, they certainly wouldn't have it in Zimbabwe. And number three, no scientist in that part of the country or that part of the world would know how to invent that. So it must be fake, but it's not fake, it's already been proven. And, which is kind of offensive in a way, but, it just shows you the general level of stupidity and ignorance of people. I can see why they would say it because we haven't heard from Zimbabwe lately about their evolution of technology. But still, yeah, those are some very evolved cultures there, and they could have things way more advanced than anybody. But the fact is that's what they actually have, okay? And that's what we're participating in. So our audio will be in all those vehicles in some form or another. And that's exciting because we have the best audio solution. When I say that, I'm not selling against these other people. I like the other products, okay? But I'm saying with our product, you have the best solution. With their product, you have less than the best solution, okay? And that's not a competitive position. That's a reality. Don't take my word for it. Only listen to all of the people that have ever heard that solution. Like 100% of every single person has never said, oh, you know what, MAXD with Bose or MAXD with Sony. No, I just take my Sony, sorry. No, they've said, what is that? How do I get it? It's MAXD? Oh, okay, now that I know that's MAXD, that would cause me to make a consumer buying decision every single time. If it had it, I'd buy it. If it didn't, I wouldn't. And that's 100% in every single test. Then we also did a University of Florida Gainesville study. We're the only company that did a clinical study, a blind study, measuring safety and efficacy of the dynamic waveform. So that's huge. Then we also have a patent now on it for biometric audio security. And that sounds like it's kind of simple enough, but you have fingerprint security, right? Fingerprint biometrics, you have iris security that's usually military, high grade. You have facial recognition, Apple and some of these others. But you don't have audio. Okay, why don't you have audio? Because I can hack it in a minute. And anybody that knows audio and knows hacking can hack it in a minute. If I get your voice, I could hack your stuff. And so that's the problem with the audio situation with biometric audio is it's simply the voice and then a protective coating. What happens is ours is a dynamic wrapper that encodes and decodes a moving process that's not static. So it essentially changes every time. It changes on every login and every log out. And so it's beyond encryption. It's something that's going to be quite popular. And we're getting already a lot of people that are ready to go with this. So we're getting offers to engage and to sign deals where we're getting in our standard format that we developed for the license for automotive and for video audio online and for other software app plugins like TIP. We developed a model, what we call 7, 8, 9 figure or 6, 7, 8 figure. So it depends on what the size of the markets are. But in these cases, these are kind of entry-level deals. We got 6 figures of cash to do the deal, we get that money. We get also actually more than that because we're getting the NRE, the non-recurring engineering fees, are getting paid by the other side in almost every case where they exist. Sometimes that's an issue. Our software being applied has to be modified or put into a new a format, a new wrapper, new kind of encoding or decoding, or compiled in a different software algorithm. So all those things are relevant. The six-figure deposit is followed by an annual six-figure deposit that equals a 10-year deal over 10 years. Six-figure equals a seven-figure guarantee against exclusivity. So you got six-figure, seven-figure, and then you have revenue share. That can be up to 8 figures. We're going to start projecting that soon, and you're going to see some real amazing numbers. Now in automotive, we expect to see almost dollar for dollar buy-in, which means that this is a company that could be in the billion-dollar club pretty quickly because it's automotive. So now everybody wants to buy a hybrid car or electric hybrid car, and they want it to do innovative things. Well, the vehicles that we're going to be building at Hendy allows us to be a true technology partner and really help them every way. And they have an amazing founder in Divine Maffa, just a really progressive person, and that's just what I love about his culture. It brings with it so much passion, enthusiasm for doing great things on earth today at a time when we really need this kind of a benefit. And giving what I call service with a smile. There's 2 things I do in business. I say, you can disagree, but don't be disagreeable. There's a big difference, right? And second, don't bring me problems. Bring me your ideas for solutions to problems. So that becomes very positive. Okay, so now let's do a little quick wrap up of what all this means. You've got some amazing technology here at MAXD if you're an investor. And if you are, from the bottom of my heart, thank you and, for that faith. But by all means, really have faith. Do your homework, know your stuff. If you don't believe in it, don't own it. If you believe in it, by all means, welcome aboard. And we value you, we honor you. In little companies, it really matters. We are all a part of that kind of a family. And there's no cold indifference to it. And we're not like the big tech guys, which are just stealing everything today and saying, ha, 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 come and get us, No, this is like a real life changing event for us. So we've got the technology and we've got everything going the right way. And we're getting engaged now, and you're going to see a progression, steady. Every week you're going to see new deals coming our way. In the last 3 weeks, we've signed 3 deals, but we've got so many more that I can't even talk about that are in the process of being finished. Okay, it's just that it just takes time to finish them all. If I could do exactly what I do, a little bit more efficiency, I might be able to do 3 deals a week. But I just see a rush going on now till the end of the year, and that's going to build tremendous amount of sales. And there's real money in this because everybody wants a car, and if they get an electric car with the new technologies, these cars are real sharp. We have cars that we're looking at doing the audio for that are designed by Pininfarina, which is Ferrari. So you see, amazing looking vehicles, very cost efficient for consumers, meeting the power tests, meeting the environmental improvement tests, meeting whatever test you want to meet, and we're the audio solution. Now, we encourage other audio solution makers to show up too and partner with us, but we don't need them by any means. And so I think the industry should be noticed that, if we just go it alone, we'll be just fine. But we always took, and also, like if you're like me, you like Bose, I'm not giving up my Bose. But who knows, maybe our stuff will be good enough in 3 months or 6 months that I won't care about my Bose. I can tell you that those speakers now that we power with MAXD are off-brand. And people don't understand this about audio, but I'll explain it because myself and one of our other people here were audio experts. The quality of what's coming out of the speaker is a function of how efficiently you use what's in the speaker. You can have a speaker that's just cheap little piece of junk, but if you put enough good information in it the right way and you utilize it in the right way, you can get a much better output. So this is something, we have an understanding of this, we have an understanding of our industry, and we also have our own recording company, we have our own music company, well, meaning MAXD doesn't have those things, but I have interest in those things with my other people. And so because of that, we have all these other people showing up now in entertainment. Before we had a deal, we were talking to Dre and Iveen about Beats. And then right in the middle of talking to them, they said, that's really great. See ya. Then they sold it to HTC in Asia. And then we heard a year later they brought it back because it was falling apart. They bought it back for half of what they paid. And we went back to talk to them again. They're like, yeah, we want to talk to you guys. And like 3 months later, they sold it to Apple because Apple wanted to get an Android product, Beats headphones. Okay, Beats headphones is a very cool looking promotion is what it is. It's not a great, in my opinion, it's not a great technology, but it's very cool looking and it's good enough for people that don't necessarily understand the audio nature of it, but want the quality of that flashy, colorful experience, if you will. So, okay, so now to summarize. In the 801 rule, which you're going to hear a lot about, the depository trust company, the back office has been doing all of this funny business, I'll call it for now. It's not really funny business, it's hardcore crime, people. I mean, let's call it what it is. But I'll just be nice to Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, who are the deep capture, and they run these organizations, the SEC and FINRA, from the back office. And people that are in the business, I invented crowdfunding in '98, raised $3 million on in a week, bought a broker-dealer, did a bunch of other deals, and was subject to those processes over the course of my career. So when I say this, that they're in the back office running the whole show. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. They can do whatever the heck they want, and you can't do anything about it, too bad. And what they've been doing is they sell shares they don't own to people that pay for them and get fake shares in their account. So if you sell, in this case, in our case, billions of shares. If you sell 1 billion shares, let's just take an example. Let's say you sell 1 billion shares. Let's just keep it a lot simpler. Let's say you sell 1 million shares of my stock short, naked. Naked means you're never going to buy them back. You don't intend to buy them back. You run the company out of business. The whole thing falls apart and there's no shares to actually buy back. It's been stored and rolled in over and over and over in these fake accounts as a long sale. Then it's called a long sale and sold from one market player to another. If you look at my press release on June 13th, 2018, I implicate all the main, usual suspects, but the two that I talk about are Knight and Citadel. And they had the largest share. And of course, in GameStop, the first thing that happened is they stopped not trading, they stopped buying, so it couldn't be run higher. And Knight and Citadel rounded up $2.7 billion to bail out their guy, and that's what at least helped them to not get really creamed. Now, the thing is that they'll never catch up to our deal, because if they've shorted $8 billion in a single year that year, and we only have 6.5, and we have a total of 18 billion, and a little more recently they sold another 3 billion shares they don't own. Their own compliance lawyer told me on the phone that they have a category in their filings called shares sold but not purchased. Look it up. Okay, that's called counterfeiting shares. They're admitting to a crime. But good luck getting a judge. They own the judges, so good luck getting a judge to out them. And that's not really helpful anyway. Here's what's helpful. We're looking